Yo, what up guys? Travelz here. Wanted to do a quick DD9 Amazing Avengers video. Seen some content creators and some people talking about Amazing Avengers. Honestly, when I first saw the kits, their speed, kind of what they did, I just assumed that they probably were going to be pretty shitty. Um, Not that they're amazing, right? But they are, I think, viable. Just wanted to go through and show my characters real quick. Diamonds on most of them, all level 5 purple, tier 5. Blade 4 red, 6 yellow. So Blade, the healer, still pretty weak. Um, this is the first, or well, I guess this is probably the best team comp I had just in the first run. And honestly, I tested quite a few teams with the Amazing Avengers. So like the four-piece plus one plus Insidious Six plus symbiotes. I did a symbiote six, so three-piece plus Spider-Woman plus Spider-Man. I did a couple different combinations just in terms of like not restarting and doing the attack 100 different times. This first attack was my best attack, or the first one that I'm showing you is my best attack. The kits of Amazing Avengers are pretty good, honestly. Like their speed kind of sucks, and I will say like I use the team in war, and I use the team in other game modes. And what I typically do is just put Oath with them or Mephisto. Someone who either speeds them up or gives bleeds, kind of. Mephisto kind of gives that like bleed, turn one quick speed on spawn, so if they don't have someone to stop speed. If you use Amazing Avengers, not as the full team, they are viable in other game modes, and they've got new stats, so they're pretty good. I think as a raid team, they're pretty good. The team itself, without having Blade Mighty with diamonds and full yellows and reds and all of that, they're still pretty durable. They've got some good control mechanics. The cooldowns are a little long and they don't have anyone to provide energy. So that's kind of their drawback. But getting the bleeds out there, the heals, the additional barrier, it kind of comes into a timing issue. And honestly, like I didn't play this 100% correct, right? Like there's other ways you could play this 50 times. I'm sure you could one shot this eventually. I just didn't care to do that many takes with the team. But overall, like if you're looking at new characters, new requirements, obviously you need these guys for raid. You need them for the new Scorpion Breaker event. They're basically a required team if you want to continue progressing in the game. Um, And if you're looking at, the city section, which in my opinion, the city section is the hardest section in Dark Dimension 9, and honestly, it's pretty hard. Uh, this team, so you have two bio, Spider-Man and Spider-Woman are bio, so that kind of sucks. You get a Mystic and Blade, so you did a couple Mystics on the run, but not a ton. So you get Mephisto, Odin, Damon. There's definitely a couple, and then you get a skill. You can also, I'll show you later, you can do this with Hitmonkey. So you could do two skill here. So you could do Rachel and Hitmonkey for skill, two bios, and then the Mystic. Um, and then depending on what you do for Cosmic, like I didn't bring Fantastic Four, you can actually get away with doing this and spread out how you're putting your gear a little bit better, I think, for the entire run. So I'm not saying that this is like the absolute best team that you could use. I still think a full Insidious Six is probably the best team you could use. I just think for progression of the game and where you're at currently, like this is a legit team. You can definitely use this team. Um, you could control like if you watch the gameplay, like you can control the mobs and the opposing defense pretty well. There's a revive. In this run in particular, I didn't set the revive, and a lot of times I didn't set the revive up perfectly. I think when Blade gets more yellows and reds, his heals will be better, so the revive might become more viable. Um, and you could set this up so like you really want Spider-Woman's special is really really good. The blind, it's like Phoenix Force Magneto. the blinds, the trauma, the flip, like all of that, like her special is legit. Um, so getting her to take a turn is great. You'll see in the entire gameplay footage here, we had, um, so I did a Sym6, so I did the three-piece Sym6, so Toxin, Riot, Venom with Spider-Man, Spider-Woman. I did the four-piece with a bunch of different people. I did uh, Superior Spider-Man, which was whatever. I like the Scorpion variant. That was okay. This team with Hitmonkey is actually really good. You get good control. You can add the +1 to negative effects, which is really good. That's definitely a viable team if you didn't want to do just Hobgoblin. Hobgoblin, I think, is probably the best fourth, maybe. TBD though. Also, we don't know where the Breaker Scorpion's gonna land either, right? Like he might be city, maybe tech. I'm gonna guess because he looked pretty tech heavy, but it is what it is. Depending on where you're at with building and applying gear to characters, like that could be another option for you. So just want to put this out here so you can watch all the different team compositions. I did get rid of a few of them, but this team is definitely viable in Dark Dimension 9. They're definitely viable as a war attack team, as long as you kind of utilize them properly. They can be used in Cosmic Crucible, although I really don't. I've seen people put them on defense. They're really, I mean, there's too many different stats and kits in CC, so you could use them there, but like probably not. You're really going to need them, Breaker event is where it's going to come to. I ran the four piece with Riot, Superior Spider-Man, Vulture, and you could see all the characters. I did kind of each one individually. Toxin and Riot are kind of closer to the end. I'll go ahead and timestamp some of them. Didn't It wasn't bad with Toxin. He was pretty good for damage add. Um, Riot I thought was going to be really ideal, and he's not bad, but he does have long cooldowns. But he helps with the sustain, but I don't know that you really need the sustain because you have Blade. Every time someone takes bleed damage, Blade is either giving HP or barrier, which is kind of cool. These guys put out some good bleed, and that's why I thought Scorpion and Hobgoblin would be kind of the preferred fifth for now. But you can go through and watch. I think you can kind of manipulate it to use whatever you want as a fifth. I will say if you break the team up, they kind of suck. The really nice part with having all four is the no taunt in the beginning. So you'll see in the beginning of when I load in on DD9 on the first node, I can get directly to Blade and stun him, which is really nice. Even when you bring in a four-piece I6 with Hitmonkey, you have to use Vulture's basic because you don't want to give him the speed down, and then he gets a flip to speed up, and then you get destroyed. Um, Honestly, this team to me as a four-piece is better than the Insidious Six four-piece, from what I can see. I didn't do refreshes and log back in. If I were going to do that, I would probably play this a little bit different. Like you'll notice I use Spider-Woman's special. I wouldn't use that if I knew I was kind of on the way out and dying. I would save it to load back in and use it again on turn one, just because it does a lot. The four piece again, it gives you kind of all those additional buff pieces. Like it allows like the no speed and all those different pieces. So important to have the four piece. I would not just use Rachel or just Blade or just like if you're gonna bring the team, I would pick a team and use the full team. Again, when people are like, "Oh, I want to go slow and go through Dark Dimension, I'm not worried about time." I'm telling you, if you bring a bunch of shitty characters to City, it's gonna take you 45 attempts to get through. Like personally, like I get going slow, but 45 attempts on the three nodes, like now you're out another 4 or 5 months. Like that's kind of crazy. Um, but again, up to you. Your game, your resource management game. Play it how you want to play. I just wanted to provide you with the information, and you can kind of do what you will with that. If you have questions about the team, if you wanted to see something else specific I didn't show in here within the city section, I'll probably bring Scorpion Breaker up when his event happens. Probably going to look to place pretty high in that event. I think the teams in the roster I have are going to hopefully put me in a good position to be somewhere top 100 likely, but I might try and target depending on where the breakpoints are for diamonds. Maybe I'll try top 50 and or 20 depending on timing. We'll see. So stay tuned for that. Definitely have the link to pop into my Alliance Discord if you want to come in, ask questions, ask more questions about DD9. I do have the full original DD9 infographic posted in our Dark Dimension section in the Discord. And there's a ton of really knowledgeable people in the Discord too that are always willing to help. So feel free to ask some questions, swing through, do whatever, and hope you guys are enjoying MSF and hopefully some new content coming here at some point. And yeah, peace out.